Hey gang, welcome back. It's Dr. Bosky, and today we had a question in the community, which is, how do I leave comments, developer comments for my code, right? I have my test level here in which I work on things because it's always a good idea to have kind of a centralized test level. And you'll see that I have these at least chunks of what is this code. And what I personally do is I've developed the habit of creating a trigger. The trigger is always enemy's HP is less than 1. Doesn't really matter. That's just what it defaults to. And it's not connected to anything. And then to the right of that, I basically have my comment. So I can see that this underneath is the music randomizer. And it helps when you're looking for chunks of your functionality. Here's my boss combo maintainer. So this is the best way that I personally found that people have done it differently. You can spell things out. You can do it visually. Chain combo maintainer as well here. Yeah, so that's one way to do it here. Here's my auto power up system. And then the other thing you can do is, and I don't do this as much, but I do it on occasion, right? Which is you can, in the naming field of your triggers and your enemies, if you want, you could also, you don't have a lot, but you can 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 0, 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7. There you go. So you can also adjust the names in your triggers. So that can, it's not a lot, but that can give you some hints too sometimes when you're like, oh, I'm checking for a particular set of conditions or something like that. And the reason why this is important is because over time, every coder, every developer goes through the same thing. They get to the point where they come back and they got to debug because something doesn't work the way they expect, or they want to expand their feature set, or they need to fix a bug, and you then have to step through everything you're looking at. So little pro tip here: when you start a level, you can just grab your camera and get to roughly where you want it to go and switch to perspective mode at that point. So you can see here, like, at the end of the day, this is the insanity of this boss fight for me, right? So a couple things that can help you here when you're trying to debug. One is you can turn off the grid with H. You can turn off, or let's see here. Is it H? Yeah, H, you can turn off connectors. So that kind of helps too sometimes when you need to trace things through. But also you can see here, one of the things I wound up doing is I have this really complicated boss. So I have boss layers and I can turn things off, and so I kind of can group things by layer, and then that makes it a little easier to kind of step through where I know logically I'm debugging through the boss. So, and here you can see the same thing where right here's the phase 1 arms, here's the super player check logic that I added, right? And so it kind of helps to go through and essentially have your little hints for the phase 2 arms. And then one last thing that can help with debugging, since we're kind of talking about this. So what I find sometimes to be super useful is, especially when I have something like this, right? You can click on your trigger lines. And if you hold the shift, or if you hold the control and shift key down and you can click multiple lines. So if you need to trace a chunk of logic, like, oh, hey, here's something coming from this enemy type, you can then, by the way, the mouse button lets you click and scroll. So you can physically trace where these lines go. So I'm like, okay, what do these things do? And it turns out up here, comment, this is for the phase 1 arms. And then here, I can tell that, what is these? Oh, take a quick look. So I think when that enemy dies, I'm doing a check. What am I checking for? I know what this is. Yeah, so this is the phase 1, and this is also the boss combo maintainer. So, and we do some things where if you kill enemies, then it continues to maintain the boss combo, which is a bunch of stuff here. Anyways, this isn't about debugging that. I think the main takeaway, I just gave you the tips there, right? Which is comment your code best you can, use the trigger logic. You can use your naming fields to get a little extra context. And then just try to be organized about how and where you essentially step through and then debug through your code. So, okay, hopefully that's helpful. If you have other tips and tricks, things that you do for debugging, I know some people have created small enemies that are letters, so then they can visually have a bunch of enemies that then essentially are the alphabet. It's one way of doing it. I personally like the text on screen here because it gives me the opportunity to, one, have it just be global. So it also scales with counter scales, right? Which is kind of nice. So, and then also in terms of when I come to click on it, but you can also, if you really wanted to, you can switch it to world position too, and have that localized as you progress through debugging your code. Okay. Anyways, talk to you soon.